The night she said it, the rain was falling so hard it felt like the sky itself was breaking apart. I was standing under the dim porch light of the house I once thought would become my second home, water dripping from my jacket, my heart heavier than the storm clouds above me. I had come to return the last of her daughter's belongings, old sweaters, a framed photo, a novel she had once claimed changed her life. I thought it would be a quick exchange, a polite nod, and a quiet goodbye to the final thread tying me to the past. I had no idea that a single sentence would shake me to my core and force me to confront everything I believed about love, loss, and second chances. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the idea that love can take unexpected forms, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps these stories alive and reaching hearts that need them most. Her mother opened the door that night, not with the polished smile I had seen so many times before, but with eyes that looked tired in a way I had never noticed. The house behind her felt quieter than usual, emptier somehow. The laughter that once echoed from the kitchen when her daughter and I would tease each other over burnt pancakes or bad music choices was long gone. It had been 3 months since the breakup, 3 months since everything fell apart over misunderstandings, pride, and words we both regretted too late. I had loved her daughter in the purest way I knew how. I was there when she doubted herself, when she failed her first big interview, when she cried over friendships that faded. I held her hand at her grandfather's funeral. I stayed up all night helping her prepare for exams. I believed that love was about showing up, over and over again, even when it was inconvenient. But somewhere along the way, the pressure of expectations, her fear of commitment, and my stubborn refusal to give space collided. We broke each other without meaning to. Standing there on the porch, I felt like a ghost visiting a life that no longer belonged to me. Her mother invited me in from the rain, the warmth of the house wrapped around me, carrying familiar scents of cinnamon and old books. Every corner held memories, the couch where we watched movies, the dining table where we celebrated small victories. It hurt more than I expected. We sat across from each other, the box of belongings between us like a silent witness. She looked at me in a way that made me uneasy, as if she saw more than I was trying to show. She asked how I had been, and I gave the standard answer people give when they do not want to burden others. I told her I was fine. I told her work was keeping me busy. I told her time was helping. But time had not helped. I still replayed the final argument in my head. I still wondered if I could have said something differently, listened better, loved smarter. Her mother's voice softened as she spoke about her daughter. She admitted that her daughter had been struggling too, though pride kept her from reaching out. She confessed that sometimes young people confuse fear with certainty and run away from the very thing they need most. There was no blame in her tone, only sadness. Then she said the words that stopped my heart. She told me that maybe, in another lifetime, she wished she had a lover like me. It was not flirtation. It was not inappropriate. It was a statement wrapped in regret and admiration, spoken by a woman who had endured her own storms. She spoke about her late husband, about how he had been charming but distant, present but never truly there. She spoke about years of feeling unseen, of wishing someone would have fought for her the way I had fought for her daughter. In her eyes, I saw decades of quiet compromise. For a moment, I did not know how to respond. I was just a young man trying to make sense of a broken relationship. I was not prepared to carry the weight of someone else's unspoken disappointments. But in that moment, I understood something profound. Love is not just about passion or timing. It is about effort, about choosing someone every day, even when it is hard. The room felt heavy with vulnerability. She looked fragile, not in age, but in honesty. I realized that her words were less about me and more about the kind of love she wished she had known. I stood up slowly and stepped closer, not out of impulse, but out of compassion. When I gently pulled her closer, it was the way a son might comfort a mother, the way one human steadies another who has carried too much alone. There was nothing scandalous in the gesture. It was simple and steady, a reminder that she deserved to feel valued too. In that quiet embrace, I felt something inside me shift. For months, I had been consumed by my own heartbreak, my own sense of rejection. I had painted myself as the victim of a love that failed. But listening to her mother's story made me realize that heartbreak is not unique, it is generational. It echoes through families, shaping how children learn to give and receive love. I left the house that night with empty hands and a full mind. The rain had stopped. The air felt cleaner. I walked to my car slowly, replaying everything she had said. Maybe the relationship had ended for a reason. Maybe my role in their lives was not to stay forever, but to show what steady love could look like. The weeks that followed were different. Instead of drowning in memories, I started focusing on growth. I poured my energy into work, into reconnecting with friends I had neglected. I began volunteering at a local youth center, mentoring teenagers who needed guidance. I did not do it to distract myself. I did it because I realized that love, in its purest form, is service. It is showing up. One afternoon, months later, I ran into her mother at a bookstore. The encounter was unexpected but strangely comforting. She looked lighter, as if speaking her truth that night had unburdened her. She told me her daughter had started therapy, that she was learning to confront her fears instead of running from them. There was pride in her voice. As we stood between shelves of novels and self-help guides, I felt no bitterness, only gratitude. I thanked her for her honesty that night, for reminding me that the way I loved was not foolish or excessive. It was rare, and rare things should not be dimmed to fit into small spaces. Life continued to unfold in ways I could not have predicted. I met new people. I experienced disappointments and small triumphs. I learned to set boundaries, to listen more than I spoke, to walk away when necessary. I stopped chasing validation from those who could not give it. Sometimes, late at night, I would think about her daughter and wonder what might have been, but the ache was softer now. It no longer felt like an open wound. It felt like a scar, evidence of something that once mattered deeply. The biggest challenge I faced was forgiving myself. I had blamed myself for not being enough, for being too intense, for loving too hard. It took time to understand that loving wholeheartedly is not a flaw. The right person will see it as a gift. Nearly a year after the breakup, I received a message from her mother. It was simple. She told me she hoped I was well and that she had started taking art classes, something she had always postponed. She thanked me for showing her that it was never too late to want more from life. Reading her message, I felt an unexpected swell of emotion. Our connection had never been about romance. It had been about awakening. And just before we reach the end of this story, I want to ask you something special. Comment below with one word that represents what love means to you. Is it patience, courage, sacrifice, growth? I truly want to read your thoughts. Because here is what I learned. Love is not ownership. It is not possession. It is not forcing something to work out of fear of being alone. Love is the courage to give your best, even if it is not returned the way you hoped. It is the strength to walk away with dignity. It is the humility to learn from pain instead of becoming bitter. The night her mother told me she wished she had known a love like the one I gave, I thought it was the end of something. In reality, it was the beginning. It was the moment I understood that the way I love is not something to tone down or apologize for. It is something to protect and offer to someone who can cherish it. Years from now, I may not remember the exact sound of the rain on that porch. I may not remember the specific words spoken in that dimly lit living room. But I will always remember the feeling of choosing compassion over confusion, growth over resentment. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of your own journey through love and loss, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the soul. Your engagement means more than you know, and it helps these messages reach those standing in their own storms. Because sometimes the most unexpected words can change the direction of your life. And sometimes pulling someone closer is not about romance at all. It is about reminding each other that we all deserve a love that stays, a love that sees us, and a love that chooses us. Fully, fearlessly, and without regret.